website just wanted to riff a little bit about attitude, living life, in the time that you got here, right? Um, you know, we've been listening to all sorts of talk about the trouble and the woes of our direction from here on to the future, at least for Western civilization, although somehow it seems like it's affecting way more than the West, but maybe that's just because of the Western dominance power structure kind of falling apart. And the question is are the people that will not accept reality, that will react in accordance to preservation of a world that they can't see was not good, will that cause a further destruction? Will we stop and say, wait a minute, this isn't worth fighting for, we have to make sacrifices, right? Because there were times over the last at least 20 plus years, where the warnings were given, the rational logic of it all, and we knew that the public wasn't going to listen without the media, and the media had become a monolith. And what that really meant is that the media was the prime organizer for the mind control. And that's why we're in this wag the doggy kind of situation. I was talking, it might have been on Facebook or something, I was talking about this whole wag the dog scenario, right? You've got you have the way we think the conspiracy works, which is the government fabricates a thing and then the media has to report on that reality, and that's what the media has always talked about. They make a direct point about that in the V for Vendetta film, which I just watched on the 5th. And I talked about how that film was exactly correct in the socio-psychological inversion, meaning that it served the psychological projection of what the right wing of its time was going to be, and that's not what the right wing was. But now it feels like the right wing will become that. That's what it feels like. And, we forget that elections are a result of who we are. So it doesn't matter who's in office. The only thing that matters is that you are in office because you are who the people are. That's the only goddamn thing that matters. And if you're going to be helpless because, all these heroes that we think are gonna, protect us from what's coming, We all know the main hero that everybody wants to see. We all know the backup plan hero that everybody wants to see. And that's not any more of a conspiracy than that's just really the way the people are. These are the trends, right? They're trying to break a mold. They're trying to break a mold. But at the same time, they're trying to break a mold so that way they can get back a world that they loved that was designed within the mold they're trying to break. You know? They're trying to regress back to a certain era that is an improvement, other than the fact that it puts you back in the loop, because they're not prepared to truly evolve. There's still too many truths being denied. There's no place, there's no place for our kind amongst them. That's troublesome. And it's troublesome because it doesn't matter that we have even much of a, quote, seat at the table, I suppose. Perhaps it's just enough of a seat to keep you from getting shot in the head, but not enough to keep you from, not enough to help you change the course of the future. However, at the end of the day, the value is extracted from you. You are the value. And as long as you know how to take care of yourself and have skills, reliability, and you've surrounded yourself by the right people. If you haven't found the right people yet, if you don't like anybody that you're around, you're gonna have to change where you're around. If you don't, and by that, I don't even necessarily mean like, oh, you've got all these people that agree with your ideals and all that shit. That's almost a privilege. But you don't have to specifically have that if you know what you're doing elsewise. So traffic is never this bad on a Tuesday. But anyway, especially here. I'm not even in Stamford yet. Anyway. So I think that you're going to be more fine than you realize, right? Like, it's kind of like in 2020, by the time you hit 2021, you had made all the sacrifices that you needed to make if you had already made a predeterminate choice that you're never going to trust whatever treatment for this condition the world is being forced to experience is. That you won't do that. You'll make a certain kind of sacrifice. And everybody made a sacrifice, right? just about everybody did, right? But who did you sacrifice to? That's what was important, because whether you liked it or not, something was going to be given up. Because it involved your interaction with the world as a whole, and nobody in the world didn't change. You know, everybody was directly affected by the change, which was also good in that people really took seriously reaching out to find their kind, because everything became so horribly alien. And so you've got these weak people and you've got these strong people now. You've got distinctive camps of the weak and the strong. There's nobody of strength that is interested in the outright truth of liberalism. And there's nobody weak that wants to be a part of the outright truth of conservatism. So these forces these forces have created very different dynamics now in how anybody's doing anything, right? The left has no option but soft power, and the right has no option but hard power, effectively. And then there's everybody else who doesn't want to have anything to do with it. They just want to get on with their lives. And the less they participate in society, in the government, in banking, and all that stuff, the better, right? And so you end up not having a goddamn thing to complain about once you set yourself apart from systems, from all of those systems that are set up that are meant to entice you, because you jump into that system and then it solves X, Y, and Z problems for you at the behest of being a dependent upon that system, and that dependency, you know, involves what you have paid into it, how your life has shifted around it, you know, like somebody who lives on the principle of the welfare state. Right? And I mean, like, who's a worse fucking person? A wealthy man who doesn't want to give up their wealth, or a poor man who doesn't want to you to stop giving them free comfort and security? Who's worse? Who's worse? Because at the end of the day, the wealthy man was given all that money for doing something for people. There's no sense, like, there's you know, like, you don't have to have gratitude. You just have gratitude because, you know, you're a decent person, right? You're grateful, you know, for the opportunity to do something for someone that got you money. But when you're hard out, and you've given up, and you've treated like your doctor who said you can't do X, Y, and Z things, like the authority, you're letting your doctor tell you what to do with your personal responsibility, right? You're letting every little moment of pain be an excuse to say no. instead of realizing that you have to push it a little bit, just a little bit. You have to knock on the door of damage. It's kind of like the way I think about it, right? It's just like when my arm hurts, I want to stretch my arm constantly. I want to constantly be applying pressure or whatnot to the area that hurts, meaning I need to feel it and feel it consistently in order to work at it. And then over time, it alleviates. All right. These are the things that need to be done, right? The world is collapsing, and you got nothing but the real world in front of you. Everything else is just a report of the edge of anxiety, right? You know, it's World War III, it's Extinction Rebellion, it's all these things. And you position yourself the right way, and none of that shit's gonna really matter to you. Look, they had their chance to wipe us out. 2020 was the time to do it. Stay-at-home orders. There were enough people that were a threat to the system staying at home, where if they wanted to fucking hit you with whatever they needed to hit you with, they could have done it right there. They know where you live. You know, we were in the height of a certain state of darkness, and it didn't happen. And let's face it, it didn't happen because it's just not going to happen. I don't believe it's going to happen. Not from not from our usual sources of understanding it. But at any rate, I have to call my job because traffic, and they need to know that I'm stuck in traffic. So I'm just saying, you need to start living. You need to start living like that old world has already crashed, right? If you're bitching and complaining about taxes, take a risk. Take a risk and don't file. Take a risk. It's you know, income tax. Look, dude, you pay plenty of taxes as a default. Like, well, you don't even pay them. You do business with companies that pay taxes, right? You know, like you see the line item, you're being charged X amount of dollars, you know, for this item because this percentile, which is, you know, this amount of dollars and cents, are taxes. That's them telling you, that's them declaring to you the tax paid on it, which is the reason why they're charging you for that, right? Because all that money goes to the same place. It all goes into the company's bank account, and the company has to look at all of those items and deduct that cost so they can pay the government. Let that be on them. You want to start a business and not pay your taxes on the items that you're selling in your business? That's under your business. It's not even under you personally, right? And it's not because you believe nothing's going to happen. It's because you're finally ready to stand on a principle. You're finally ready to say, fuck you, I don't care. Fine, throw me in jail. I'm not interested in this world that you're propagating anymore. Do something. Do fucking something, man. Because it's never going to care about you. Just never is.